Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, unfortunately, again, another boring day out there. Bitcoin is certainly on vacation somewhere and hasn't found its way back. Certainly not. I mean, even CPI. And here we can see again a great example why Bitcoin and the DXY are not negatively correlated, or they might be to a certain degree. But as I already highlighted, all these speculations about correlations, they are always only temporary. Yeah, the DXY is breaking, has broken below significant support. Yeah, it's still above $100, but it has broken below very substantial support already. It's rolling down, whereas Bitcoin is just literally doing nothing. Yeah. So just focus on the chart itself instead of trying to focus on another chart to predict the Bitcoin chart. A lot of people like to use the DXY, but yeah, it's you always be aware that Bitcoin has moved up significantly since 2011 and the DXY as well. So I don't really see any strong signs of negative correlation there. Now looking at this chart again, the situation is still unchanged and we still have the chance and opportunity and probability to move higher in a fifth wave. Now, at the moment, price action would still suggest another dip in a Y wave. And I shared with you a few different wave counts here, micro wave counts. To be honest, we only do this because otherwise it would be completely boring. So there are some micro counts, but don't take too much, don't take them too seriously. Take them with a pinch of salt, especially in a correction. These micro counts are not so useful. I still show them to give you an idea of the roadmap and how I currently see the market, but this changes so quickly in a correction. Yeah, so these wave counts should not be used to trade every single wave in here. I suggested to you that a good way of trading this is just to trade the range, not trying to wait, okay, look, he's put a third wave here, it should come down. Not necessarily. If a breakout to the upside of this triangle occurs, we get an extended B wave. It requires a different mindset in such a correction, a more flexible mindset. And Elliott Wave tells us we are in this correction and it's going to be messy. And we've been talking about that for a while. And there's no surprise it is messy because we are in a fourth wave. However, it's of course getting very boring, very draining. But still, at least hopefully it helps a little bit. That warning that we are in a fourth wave, that, you at least sort of are prepared a little bit mentally for this chop. But hopefully it's going to finish soon, because what I showed you in a previous video as well is here this possible triangle. So we're heading into the apex of a triangle, and hopefully this is an indication that a big move is coming. Now, it can certainly move in this sideways range for a few more days. You never know when a breakout occurs. At some point it should do, but as we're getting closer and closer to the end here, it's getting more and more likely that we get a breakout. Now, there is still space here until whatever, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even until Monday. It would be great though to get a bit of movement before the weekend, because otherwise it will be a completely boring weekend again. But the idea in this wave 4, and we still see this as a wave 4, is that we're dealing first of all with the WXY structure. W, wave X, and the Y wave to the downside. So in the Y wave then we had an A wave down, a B wave up, and we could be coming down now in a third wave. Now, since price has failed to really break down, since price has really failed to break down and follow through so far, and I already indicated to you yesterday that this is not typical third wave behavior. It should have broken down much more quickly. So it could be an ending diagonal, so it's getting choppy again, right? Or alternatively, we deal with the triangle count, that the X wave is a triangle. Absolutely possible. In the X wave then an A, B, C, maybe D and E, and could then break down, but it wouldn't make a difference short term. Just a few ideas of micro counts. They both point to the downside. I had a question, what happens if it breaks to the upside? Well, then we simply have to reset the B wave first. I currently have no clear bottoming structure here and no clear structure that would tell me with a high likelihood that the fifth wave has already started. I mean, that would be the alternative. If the breakout to the upside occurs above the triangle and above resistance at 31,150, then it might still be a B wave. It could then also be the wave 5 already in the making, but it's just not there's nowhere here where I would say to you, this is a classical low in place. and we're already moving up in a fifth wave, especially because if this was a fifth wave already, I mean, where's the upside pressure? It's just not there at this stage. Yeah, we have to change our view of it. But essentially, we're still waiting for a fifth wave. So if it breaks out early, I mean, it breaks out a little early, okay? That's just sometimes what happens. But essentially, there is only one scenario, as long as we stay above 28,550, which is that we are getting that one more high in the fifth wave. Now, how this is exactly going to play out in this correction is nearly impossible to predict. Again, there are some structures that we can use. I picked the most likely ones for me, yeah, that triangle or here the ending diagonal, but be aware that this is much more tricky in corrections, because if we were dealing with an impulse here in this structure, then there is only one impulse, and it's all about, okay, do we get an extension or not? But in a correction, there's, okay, is it a triangle? Is it a WXY? Is it an ABC? Is it maybe even something more complex, right? So there are just many more options, which makes it more difficult, and the probabilities are far more balanced between different scenarios. But essentially, we're still waiting for one more high. Can always break out early, yeah? Just be aware of this pattern and the structure here. And if we break below 28,550, it would not be bearish. In the first instance, I would assume that we are already in the wave 2 and that this wave 5 of wave 1 already occurred at one of these previous highs. I just haven't labeled it like that in the primary scenario, only in the alternative. Yeah, and in the alternative, we say it topped here on the 23rd of June because it's too short and it's only a 3-wave move up this wave 5. So it's not a very clear 5-wave move. Some said we're already in the wave 2. Yeah, we could be, but is this a clear wave 2? Not really. Yeah, a wave 2 is normally not a sideways correction, not that long. It could be, you know, you can never rule that out. But again, we deal with probabilities here, not with possibilities. And the wave 2 that only retraced to the 23.6 retracement, it's just not very likely, okay? So yeah, so from my point of view, the situation is unchanged. There's of course a little bit of messiness within the range. That's normal. Bitcoin is very binary. It's either in an impulse or it's in a correction. So other charts, other asset classes are not that clear. With Bitcoin, it is actually fairly clear. We're either in an impulse or we're in a messy correction. So you have that very clear distinction, which makes it very easy to detect corrections. It makes it very easy to detect impulses. That's not necessarily the case in other asset classes. All right, that's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.